Now I will ask Ms. Olha Stefanishyna, Vice Prime Minister, who is government initiator of the pilot project on urgent interim reparations for survivors from CRSV in Ukraine. And I will ask this pilot project to be presented to us. Thank you. Greetings. Our today's meeting is a certain result, and I would like, before presenting the project itself, to tell how did we come to that. During the first days after the full-scale invasion, we started getting information from our militaries and intelligence from the occupied parts of Ukraine about mass cases of tortures, rapes of women and men and children and elder people who were under occupation. At the moment when we also how the bombs are falling on our cities and we are seeing the war that we could have just imagined to ourselves, let us say so, the information about crimes against civilians, that was beyond any reality that we could have just imagined. The most scary thing was to understand that these people, you cannot help them because they are under occupation. And then we realized that we have at least our voice, and the whole world has to hear about that. And our first calls, so to say, were heard by Great Britain. I would like to thank our British friends and Baroness Lindsay, who was the first who started shouting out loud together with us and speaking loudly to the whole world. I would like to thank to both Prime Ministers of Great Britain who implemented urgently the position of special authorized person on investigating the crimes related to war and all the support that we are already receiving with you. And we are building coalitions together. Already in May 2022, a special representative of UN on crimes related to crimes of sexual nature related to war arrived to Ukraine, and she was the first to recognize rapes and sexual crimes as a weapon of war. Since then, it is mentioned in all the official documents. We don't have different readings and different understanding because it's a crime and it's a weapon of war. However, in all this global process, in the center, in front of my eyes, there were always people who suffered from these crimes. We knew that we cannot help them till they are under occupation. However, we realized that they have to be heard. We have to talk to them when the territories are being liberated or when they had the opportunity to use the green corridors. So we started opening centers for helping the rescue, the first one of which was opened in Zaporizhia, where a lot of people came, those who were returning from captivity, those who were using the possible green corridors that at the moment were open. However, we realized also that this is not enough, and we don't know when the war will be over, when we will see justice, like judging Russia for military crimes committed on the territory of Ukraine, when we will be able to cry calmly, to cry about all that suffering that we feel every day. But we understand that each person needs the feeling of justice. And today we are here talking about restoration of the rights, survivors' rights, about interim reparations. And I am incredibly proud of the fact that I cannot name just one leader in this project. We have the government participants here, Ms. Olena, who was, is, and I'm sure will remain our powerful voice internationally, our NGOs also, the rescue themselves, the survivors of these crimes. And a huge project that we are presenting today became possible just due to our joint efforts and the fact that we were united. So, together with the Global Fund of Those Who Survived Violence and Government Commissioner on Gender Equality, and in order to form the trilateral agreement signed by all of us, we initiated development and implementation of the pilot project of interim urgent reparations for survivors from CRSV. In the framework of the project, we developed a system of forming such reparations, which provides detection of survivors, identification of cases, making decisions about attaching the CRSV criteria and payment of interim compensations. It's very important for us that this work is happening both in cooperation with the Office of Prosecutor General, who is investigating these crimes, as well as Ministry of Justice, who is forming the registry of losses. That means that today we are forming not only the database, but also a very serious and powerful base for further restoration of justice and for Russian Federation as aggressor to bear responsibility for their crimes. For a long time, and today it is more than 2 years after the full-scale invasion, but we understand that justice should not be limited in time. So in the framework of the first phase of this project, we will provide one-time interim compensations. At least the first pilot project, we want to involve 500 people. The main tasks of the supervisory board, which is going to conduct this process, it's consideration of documents as well as forming the respective information, statistic information about the confirmed cases. On the 29th of February, we started this project officially. We had the first meetings, and in the framework of the first test phase, from the 1st to 31st March, already 40 survivors will go through the process of verification. That is the necessary procedure to get the certain status and the first interim reparations. We also determined the main implementation partners of the project. These are those whom I mentioned already, Center for Helping the Rescue, and that is first of all, for sharing information. They are ensuring places for interviews and providing psychological support and all the other services available in centers. Also, these are NGOs such as Foundation of Andreev's Family Bluebird, Alice Ukraine, Truth House, who are working with us on identifying, supporting, and implementing this project. We are also conducting work on ensuring the system of working with draft laws that are on consideration already in the parliament, and also about the status of people who suffered from CRSV, and also about the registry that is going to be implemented by the Ministry of Social Policy. I am really, really sorry to acknowledge from one side that since the beginning, from the very beginning, unfortunately, we have certain practice, and then legislation and services are following that. From the other side, I am proud of the fact that we are going to reserve some time after the victory to cry and suffer together with others, but we are uniting and we are ensuring justice in those frameworks, like in the frame where it is possible. We understand also that it's important to combine the work of different stakeholders in different directions so that all of them are quickly reacting to the needs of the survivors. We are also very grateful for numerous efforts aimed at implementation of reparations. We have to reinvent this word under the conditions of the full-scale invasion in the 21st century. We are grateful to the Council of Europe for creating an international registry which might help us use the arrested assets of Russian Federation assets to cover the needs for reparations. That means that justice will come already now. We are actively working on that. We would also like to thank our partners and colleagues from the Parliament, from Verkhovna Rada. As of today, there are no difficult issues in the Parliament, and I would like to ask Ms. Olena for your support on considering the relevant legislative initiatives in the Parliament. I am clearly understanding that we bear a very important responsibility for combining our minds and hearts, first of all, so that we can work together, bringing all the necessary changes to the legislation, our practices, our consciousness, and understanding our individual responsibility for what we can do in order to help, in order to regain justice, to hear, to change. I would like to thank all of you for the fact that during this very brief path, I always felt that I am ready to understand the aggression, to withstand it. And I hope that we will be able to show the same readiness in reacting to the needs of survivors. The key principle for me in the first days since the beginning of the full-scale invasion that I mentioned was the feeling of responsibility and understanding that I cannot adopt any single solution without being confident that the person who needs help will get such help. And I am incredibly proud of the fact that today we have more than 250 participants online. However, I think that hundreds and hundreds of those who are working with us every day all over the country, and this confidence I have today.
I would like to thank you, and I am confident that today's project that we are launching together is the first step towards justice. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Stefanishyna, for the introduction of this comprehensive work of solidarity.